Hello everybody, my name is Star and welcome to the channel. This is my review for Star Wars Adventures issue number 7 for volume 2. In this we have two stories. As always, we have The Princess and the Bog, A Twin Tale Part 1, as well as The Crimson Corsair and The Crime Lords of the Barren Rim. So going over that first story, we have Luke and Leia being given a task by Mon Mothma to find them a new rebel base in between the events of A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. They go to Bogano, which is a planet we see in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. So Leia had Luke go to a different planet. It turns out that Luke ended up there anyway. She's not very happy because they wanted to split up and conquer to find different planets easier. He said he was called there by the Force. We know there's a Jedi temple there if you play Jedi Fallen Order. So basically, they go on an adventure. They have a Boglin, which is a cute little rabbit-type creature that is, indigenous to the population of Bogano. And that leads them right to that same temple that you go into when you explore as Cal Kestis. And they find a bunch of stormtroopers there having a bunch of Boglings at gunpoint. So apparently the message didn't get to them from like 10 years prior that, the Empire already knew about the location of Bogano as the second sister goes there and everything else. But this story was fine. Like, I don't like the going back and forth between Leia and Luke because it seemed like they were much more rivals at this point, which I guess you can kind of see after the events of A New Hope. Maybe they're not as close. So it seems like there was more rivalry there than I wanted to see. And it was quite childish. So not a big fan of that, but the overall scope of things of, maybe speculating about, hey, could Luke actually meet Cal Kestis? We don't know Cal Kestis' fate. He is alive 5 years prior to, or 5 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith. So it's cool just seeing, the games being acknowledged in the overall continuity of Star Wars with characters going to places where other characters have been. The other story we have deals with the Crimson Corsair. So we haven't really heard a lot about this really cool, mysterious character that we first seen in Force Awakens. We do have that book of short stories, Crimson Corsair and the Raiders, where he goes and he basically finds this prize of Count Dooku, which is a carbonized clone trooper that awakens in the sequel trilogy era. So in this story, we pick up after those events. We have this big mission set by Quigold, which is the first mate of the Crimson Corsair. He gets himself captured basically to get the Crimson Corsair to come in and steal this ship of this dude that he's being captured by, which is a Separatist ship. It's a CIS ship, and the whole reason of this whole thing to basically go around is the Crimson Corsair knows there's a fleet of these Separatist ships. So if he could take one of these, he could find the transmitter that will signal where the rest of them are. So eventually, Crimson Corsair, after the events of, the Rise of Skywalker, we could see this guy having a fleet of Separatist cruisers and maybe make it a really big deal for whatever new government has popped up. But the main thing I wanted to go over in this story is we find out about the last clone trooper alive, and they literally say this, the last clone alive is Kix from the Clone Wars. So how does a clone trooper react? He's very sad a lot. They'd say that in this issue. I think that's the biggest thing about this issue is this clone trooper, and now we're watching the Bad Batch concurrently, and the clones are on our minds, and knowing that there's a clone that's alive in the sequel trilogy at the same place, where Rey and where Finn and where Poe is, like, that's just so fascinating to me, seeing a character so deposed from or taken out of his timeline and put into this completely other timeline. And how does he interact? How is he going to respond to different threats? And he's got really cool looking armor, by the way. So that was really neat. I like seeing the Crimson Corsair and how he has his own crew of people. Revith, it's this little hacker slicer, Twi'lek. And we got Squeaky, which is this cool Gamorrean that led this like Gamorrean uprising of slaves on this one planet that Crimson Corsair went to. So, the storytelling was a little bit different because they were trying, Quigold's explaining to this commander of this CIS ship that it gets stolen by Crimson Corsair. They're kind of like doing fourth wall break and stuff like, no, Crimson Corsair wouldn't do that. He would do this because then he would get shot instantly and he would go on his speeder bike instead, or speed or whatever. So there's like a little bit of non-linear storytelling that kind of threw me off a little bit, but just the clone trooper stuff is the best part about this story and the best part about this entire issue. So what do you guys think of Star Wars Adventures issue number 7? What do you want to see from another character that could be in Star Wars Adventure Comics? Because I love doing these one-offs. let's talk about it in the comment section down below. For more on Star Wars comics and Star Wars in general, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel, as I have much other content there. That is going to do it for me, Starpter. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at StarRaptor.